Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs podcast. We're on season 6, episode number 20. Andy, tonight's the sports edition, episode 20. Today is March 24th, 2025. Boy, time's going fast.
Yeah, we got tournaments ending, tournaments just getting started. Baseball starts this next weekend. And I listened to ESPN for 30 seconds today, and they were talking about Aaron Rodgers. So I don't get it.
I don't know. There's so much going on. Yeah, I think the NHL has a month to go, and
Yep.
NBA about that. So we're winding up NCAA. I spent a lot of time watching a lot of wrestling this weekend, Andy.
Yes.
But I've never done that before, actually stream the Division I championships. And so that was very interesting. So it's baseball, Major League Baseball season. Let's start off with the trivia question, Andy.
Yes. A spring training wraps up. Grapefruit League, Cactus League.
Trivia question. How long ago in spring training did Randy Johnson pitch that ball, Andy, to a batter in front of fans and smoked that bird that flew right across on the way to home plate and blew it up? They called it a no pitch. There was no pitch.
No pitch.
And so a bird dove down during the game, flew right in front of the pitch projection trajectory and got demolished.
Tell it to the bird that it was no pitch, first of all.
Unbelievable. And it was all caught on film, one of the most wild things you'll ever see. But how long ago was that, Andy? We'll get to the answer at the end of the episode.
That's even more weird than the whole Dave Winfield throwing a ball and hitting one. It's almost as weird, but
that's one thing. And there's coincidental things, and there's things that are just astronomical. If you don't get a chance here, just do a Google search on Randy Johnson ball throwing. And the video
today, so you find it on, if you're watching this tonight, the 20th.
It's just
the 24th.
Yeah, today is the anniversary of that. So how many years back? We'll get to the answer at the end.
All right, let me move Donald over there to the side. First of all, congratulations to the new Gopher men's basketball coach, Nico Medved. Just a couple things about Nico here. First of all, local boy, Minneapolis, went to the U. Was an assistant here. Actually, when he was in one of his assistant, that's his coaching career, but his head coaching, when he was at Colorado State, was an assistant under Tim Miles, who used to be a head coach at North Dakota State University. So,
Bison.
Any chance I can mention the Bison, I'm going to take it. So,
yes.
Shameless plug for the Bison. So
now, Andy, last week in David Shama, the local columnist for sports, he did call this out. He went on the edge and just said basically it's going to be this guy, and they announced it. So, hats off to the latest and greatest update there from Mr. Shama.
We've had Mr. Shama on the show. We plug his stuff, so if you heard it through him, you heard it through us. You know it's right.
Of course.
Soapbox number 1.
Oh, my. There's multiple. I like it.
Fired up. All right. Head coach Reggie Barlow has informed the team that he'll be leaving the UFL. Sources told him. So he was coaching UFL. Oh, I got a chance to coach at Tennessee State instead. This is getting as bad as the players. Now, yes, I don't want to hear it's just the UFL. It's a head coaching gig. Did this get him the job at Tennessee? Yes. But come on, man. It's a 10-week league. You can't do both? Come on. The season starts this weekend. Oh, sorry, can't coach. I want to go a chance at a head coach at Tennessee State. I think a UFL job's better than Tennessee State, to tell you the truth. But, hey, what do I know?
Yeah,
I just kind of crappy that coaches do this now, take off for one thing or the other, and then that's junk.
Wow.
Soapbox 2. I got no pictures for this because it happened just about an hour ago.
Okay.
I was going to mention it before, but I saw more of it today, and I couldn't get Kevin to do crap for me in the studio to help out with stuff today. So I have no logo for it, no pictures for it. You know us here on Sports and Songs. We love our women's sports. We support them. We're 110% behind them. Go, go, go. The women's basketball, this is the one part that still bothers me about women's basketball even today.
Okay.
Top seed hosts the first 2 rounds. That bothers me. It's tough enough to be the 1 against 64 when the higher seed has the home court. That's just you're making the upset Cinderella part even worse. I think I saw the 1 through 4 seeds only once has one of those teams lost in the years they've done it. Or a 15 seed beat a 2, I think, or something like that. But you got to get rid of that home court for the first 2 rounds for the higher seeds. I think that's part A. Part B, there's starting to be a lot of separation, I think, in women's basketball, kind of like with men's football. There was, granted, went double overtime. Both teams went over 100, but there's been like 8 games over 100 points scored. You don't see that in the regular season much because a lot of the divisions are pretty tight. That just shows you how the 1 and 16, 2 and 15 games aren't really that close. I mean, I put on there, UConn won a couple days ago, 103-39. I watched that game. It wasn't that close. I think UConn was pulling people out of the bleachers to play, and that's how the other team got back into it a little bit too. 39 points out of 100. Sarcasm, by the way. They weren't pulling people out of the bleachers.
Yes,
but they might as well been, because put 2 people out there. Just destroying these 16 and 15 seeds and stuff. Just, I'm not saying cut it back, but maybe don't have it be at the home court of the other one to try to give them a fighting chance. So like I said,
well, coming in before the show, the women's games were on. UConn playing at home, number 1 seed, taking on South Dakota State Jackrabbits, and it was at it's watching a home game on national television. It's not a regional neutral site. They're playing at home, and like Andy said, you're already the number 1 seed. You're already the best team in that section. And now you get 2 more home games, literally at home. All the fans are your own fans, and the players are used to playing at that court. So I think they're
used to changing that locker room, getting there, and everything else is all
everything. There's nothing new about it. So it's a really tough to play against that. Now, if they were to have regional hosts and things like that, to have them at neutral sites, if there was more money to fly the teams around and stuff like that, maybe they'll eventually get to that. But I think
look at some of the men's regional sites. I mean, and I'm just grabbing names out of the air, for example. It would be, here this regional site produced the number 1 seed and they're playing in Indianapolis. What a coincidence, So the men kind of do it too. Duke has always been a top 2 seed. It happens to be in one of the Carolinas that first round games are. If Duke's the 1 seed, they should be playing out in Seattle. If USC is 1 seed, they should be playing in New York. If Florida's 1 seed, they play in Texas. Okay, don't let the 1 seed play in their own region.
Yeah, it is an advantage. It is an advantage, but playing on your home court is another animal. I did see, UConn had the blowout. I did see the Duke game for the women's that had the blowout over Lehigh. And these are 15, 16 seeds, but they're still the champions of their league. I mean, Lehigh won the Patriot Conference, outright won it.
Right.
And they get destroyed. Now, in the games like that, you come out and you cannot shoot. You're cold shooting and things don't go your way. It gets over in a hurry. And so that's the good thing about games like this as well, is that it shows you the difference very fast, the level of the different tiers at the D1 level. Yes, you're playing D1 basketball, but unbelievable how different it is. And so the next week and next 2 weeks are going to be much better games as far as the competition, but it's tough.
And I don't know what the score is now, but I know South Dakota State was up like 10-4 or 10-6 early against UConn. And I'm not saying South Dakota State would have beat UConn. If that game was in Nashville, I think the Jackrabbits would give them a run. Just saying.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff.
You look at the men's brackets right now, the 16 teams left. It's 4 conferences.
And what is it called? The Power Four?
Yeah. So just saying that. Funny. And I think SEC has one team, or ACC have one team. And it's really almost three conferences that have 15 of the 16 teams there. So, but even then.
Wow.
Wisconsin women's hockey is our national champions. Congrats to the Lady Badgers.
Super good.
That game is against Ohio State. Wisconsin ties it literally in the last couple, 3 seconds, and then goes on and wins it in overtime. So Ohio State had it. They had it in the last few seconds, and just Wisconsin came back, boom, boom. Here's the Mets rotation as of opening day right now. Holmes will be our opening day pitcher, and then it kind of goes that way afterwards. Again, beginning of the season, this all changes. You get a bullpen game in there the first few weeks, but as the season rolls, this should be their starting rotation. Here's one I don't get. Guy for the Dodgers. Second breach, domestic violence. He's suspended for a few games. Trevor Bauer was never found guilty. He just breached it, but was never arrested, never charged, and he can't get a ticket into a ball game. Here's this other guy. He's on the second one, and he'll come back in 60 days after, or 80 days or whatever after a suspension. It's crap. They got something against Trevor Bauer. I don't know what it is. He's a great mouthpiece. Yeah, if you follow him on the social medias, he's hilarious. He's been pitching in Mexico and other leagues. He's telling these guys what he's going to throw, and he's blowing it by him. He's some kind of phenom. Yes, it's in Mexican baseball. Who cares? You're a professional hitter. Someone says, I'm throwing you a curveball, it's going to be on the outside corner, and you still fan. He's a good pitcher.
Very, very good. And you're right. They've got something against him. They're using him as an example, but there should be a committee or a subcommittee in Major League Baseball just to look at these anomalies and things like this.
Yeah, why is this guy getting a second chance after he serves a suspension? Yeah.
Yeah, there's cases like that. It's goofy.
The White Sox had 6 pitchers need Tommy John surgery since the beginning of spring training. 6 pitchers in spring training needed Tommy John surgery this month.
That actually had it already in spring. Yeah, it's the speed, it's the velocity is what I've read is that these guys are throwing so hard and for so long in D1 and high school that by the time they get up there, now it's common to have 1 or 2 Tommy John surgeries by the time you make the majors. So they burn them out faster. They try to come back. It might work for a little bit, but their longevity is just not the way it used to be.
I've even heard some having it just as a preventative medicine. They're going to need it anyway. They have it early on to get it done with.
It's so bizarre.
That's why you don't see pitchers come up as fast anymore because they know they're going to need the surgery, so keep them in the minors.
Okay.
Top 10 franchise records on opening day.
Oh, really? Okay.
They're old-timers. Mets, 651, 41 and 22. The Mariners, the O's, the Yanks, Dodge, Cubs, Jays, Giants, the Pirates, and the Rockies. Rockies are 17 and 15, but still top 10, which shows you how many franchises are all below 500. See, a few of them had ties back in the day. They had a tie, kids.
Oh, wow. Yes.
History.
We're learning stuff.
All right. Here's your DRS bar card. I've not seen a Crow River one yet this year, but locally, find your local DSR ball team and say, hey, I'd like to buy a bar card. Fill up your card, buy 4 drinks, get 1 free after you fill up at all those different bars.
So and for how many punches? Is it 4 each?
It's 4 at a bar.
So you can get a buy 1, get 1 free, and that's 1. And then another time you come in, buy 1, get 1 free, that's 2. So essentially 4 beers during the summer drinks you get free.
Yep. John Calipari is the second coach in NCAA history to lead 4 different teams to a Sweet 16. So that's pretty good. That's not bad.
Wow.
Arkansas, Kentucky, Memphis, Arkansas. Arizona State Universities, or I'm sorry, not University, Arizona State Sun Devils are hiring Grand Canyon's Molly Miller as their next basketball head coach. The school's announced. I just thought it'd be nice to say that we're giving women coaching changes a little credit here too.
Yep.
All right. Haley Van Lith. Say what you will about her. She's worn a dozen different uniforms, both red and multiple shades of purple. Called 3 teams, home. She's many games. She's played for the country, this and that. She is a great, great player. Here's a little bit on her. Of course, it's a gal, so we skip the height and weight part. Cashmere Washington, where she went to high school. She played Louisville for 3 years. LSU, now TCU. She will be going pro next year. 3rd team All-American. Big 12 player of the year. Newcomer of the year. 1st team All-American. Big 12 tournament. So she's got all the accolades. She's checking the boxes. Under 19 World Cup, gold medal. Under 17 World Cup, gold medal. Olympic Games, bronze. 3-on-3 World Cup, gold. 3-on-3 under 18 World Cup, gold. Youth Olympics, gold. A lot of places are picking her to be the top pick in the 3rd round, which would be the LA Sparks, which means she'd be playing with Cameron Bilk, which would be very nice. Because Cameron will be coming back off her injury, so she'll be all ready to go. Excuse me. So we got that. Yeah, Cameron Brink. I'm sorry. She'll come back from injury there in LA. Watch them next year as a team to watch. Of course, Paige Beckers is becoming in the league. She'll be taking a lot of light. Caitlin Clark's there, of course. So a lot of big names. And the league still lost money last year. They're just always going to lose money. That's just the nature of the beast. 29 years that league's been around, lost money every year. And they made a bank load last year with TV rights, and they're going to make bank in the next couple of years. They're still losing money. And some people think it's going to be more popular than baseball in 5 years. No. A lot of it has to do with, WNBA has to do with your time of year. You're in the summer. Sorry, that's bad for you. UFL, football is supposed to be the sport, and UFL can't give tickets away. Well, I mean, they can't get people to watch it. Their arenas are selling out, but no one wants to watch it. Yeah, WNBA draft coming up in a couple months. That should be fun. All right, did you see this you saw the wrestling?
Yeah.
the Don there, an Air Force lieutenant after his match goes it, gives his commander-in-chief a salute. That was pretty cool, I thought.
It was wild to see that all play out.
All right. Local girl, Tiffany Stratton, will be headlining, but should be headlining WrestleMania against Charlotte Flair this year. One of those days, WrestleMania weekend. I predict this match will be the headliner one of the 2 days. If not, they're stupid. Local girl does good.
Go Tiff. It's Tiffy time.
It'll be Tiffy time against Ric Flair's daughter. So if that ain't the passing of the torch down to Tiffy when Tiffy beats her, yeah. And both ex-gymnasts, ex-athletes, so other sports. So should be a very good match of 2 of them because athletically and that they're very good. One other thing I didn't have a picture of here I want to bring up is there was the part where Rick Pitino, St. John's University, they lost their game. Made me throw away my bracket because I had St. John's in the Final Four.
Ooh.
Yeah, there. So, yeah. I always lose a Final Four team in the first weekend. Anyway, so Pitino loses, catches a flight to Cleveland to see his son Richard Pitino coaching that night. If that's not a cool father-son thing.
Well, that's how that worked. I saw that, but I didn't know the significance of it.
Yep. I remember when Richard Pitino was coaching here, they're in the NIT. The old man's in the second row back yelling and coaching from the back row, and Richard kept turning around to his dad. I got this. It's my job, Dad. Just, Yeah, so Richard Pitino's out. Women's basketball is going strong. My bracket's looking good still. Of course, I got Final Four team out now. So I'd St. John's going to the Final Four. Basically because I don't care how it is. I've never, ever in my life been able to write Duke in the Final Four. I can't do it.
Yeah, you just can't. You can't.
No,
I have Alabama winning it all, Andy.
I got Houston winning
Iowa State in the Final Four, and so I'm out. And my wife also had St. John's going to the championship game, so she's out. Yep, it's a tough time of the year.
I got Houston winning for men and because I shot my mouth off a few weeks ago. I had to put Notre Dame down winning for the gals. I got, so I had called Notre Dame a while ago. Notre Dame's got 3 girls going first round, if not the first 2 rounds of the WNBA draft. So watch Notre Dame on the women's side. You're going to hear those names a lot this summer watching the pro games. So
it's unbelievable.
And one of them might even come to the Lynx. So
fun to watch. Fun to watch. Now, in high school, the very last sport for winter sports had their state tournament was boys basketball. All 4 classes had championship games there. So that is now done. It's wrapped up. I think it was the All-State Player of the Year was Nolan Gross from Orono. He's going to Yale next year. And so D1, and he's going to Yale to play basketball. He's a 6'5" guy, really good. And there was an article in the paper, Minnesota sports for when it comes to local talent. It was, I think, the 19th time or in how many years that the top player has not gone to Minnesota. So you get to be the top player in the league, whether you're in football in the state of Minnesota, football, basketball, baseball, and you tend to go elsewhere. And that's the root of the problem. So this guy now, number 1 player in the state, is going to go to Yale, full ride scholarship, of course. And what would keep someone like that from coming here? And it doesn't work. It does not fly. I'm not saying I'm for or against it. I'm just saying, there used to be that big pride you'd be going after, and now you're going to go out and play for the school that you want and go and play in the area, and that's it.
You get the oddity like a Joe Mauer, who's Mr. Football, Mr. Basketball, and then plays baseball.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and so that's where he's going to go. He's an Orono guy, and they had a couple studs there, and they ended up with 3rd place in the state of Minnesota. But basketball's now done, and like I said, NHL is wrapping up in another month ago. NBA, Major League Baseball is starting. The UFL we touched on earlier. They open up this weekend, Andy. There's one game, and these are all nationally televised games. Watch them if you will. Typically, people don't tell others that they watch them, but they may watch them at home and kind of keep it quiet.
They're closet fans, yes.
They're closet fans. So there's a game Friday night, national TV, Saturday night, and then 2 on Sunday. So there's only 4 games a weekend, and all of them are on national TV. And so it's very interesting market how they do it. Like you say, people are like going to the they don't really watch them. They don't really go to the games. The team in St. Louis always seems to sell out. They're a big market, but the other ones still, they get some fans at the games, but it's a tough thing. And that's why I think the WNBA could do better in another part of the season or something. I don't know. But they may make money. They may lose money, but they're in a tough, no matter how good they are, they have one strike against them. And so
I think I'm not a business mogul like my friend Don.
Yes.
But for UFL and WNBA to succeed, my opinion, you can't have them in the same city as one of the baseball teams that's playing in the summer because there's not enough. There's too much stuff going on in the summer to throw in 2 or 3 sports. Minnesota can handle football, basketball, and hockey in the winter because there's not much else to do. The summer, we got the lakes. Oh, you want me to go see the Lynx and the Twins and go to the cabin?
And there's soccer, professional soccer in town. I mean, there's too much. So you're saying the mid-market, the smaller market cities that don't have a professional sport, those would be the candidates like the minor league ballparks that do so well to host the WNBA teams. I can see that.
Like Iowa should have a UFL team. They got no other major sports going on there.
Oh, yes.
Stuff like that. I'm not saying put them in Dubuque, Montana, and Boise, Idaho, but maybe that's where you do put them. I don't know. But don't put them where you got a Major League Baseball team that's going to take away from your fans spending dollars.
The other thing I did, NCAA wrestling, I said, we've been posting on Facebook and Twitter. What did we pick? 4 or 6 guys over the last 2 weeks, just local guys in wrestling that have a local flavor from around here. and I decided to follow them just to see how they did, where they fared, provided updates, provided notes, did the streaming, watched those matches. Very fun, very interesting stories that came out of this. And then watching the Gabe Stevenson, the heavyweight, lose. This is a guy that won the gold medal.
I was going to bring that up.
He was in the WWE, signed a contract with the Buffalo Bills, hadn't won. His last title he won was in 19?
Well, the guy who beat him last had never beat Gable at all in their careers. There was some write-up I put on social media today how this guy's like, oh, he's really not that good, blah, blah, blah. He beats Gable. That's...
And both are 24, 25 years old,
right?
Because of the extra year with COVID and whatnot. However it worked, they're both graduate students. He was U.S. Air Force, got his, finished up his 4 years, had a year of eligibility left, had to transfer in to Oklahoma as a grad student to use that extra. As far as I know, there's no graduate programs in the military. I mean, you can't go to Army.
You're 4 and you're done.
Yeah, you're 4 and you're done. So this guy, that's why the whole story was very interesting. And I didn't know the backstory is, and he enrolled in Oklahoma as a 5th year, using 1 more year, enrolled into their graduate program. He's already a second lieutenant in the military.
Right.
And now he comes back, works out, gets his last year as a heavyweight, goes up against Gable, is behind the entire match, beats him at the end, and it's over. And so very interesting how all this played out. Some say it was the biggest upset in NCAA wrestling history.
Okay, in sports history, let's be honest. Sports history.
And to be able to watch it live, I streamed that match. I could not believe it. Good stuff. Max McEnally, we followed. A couple guys from New Prague. A local kid, Scott West Wrestling. So since 1 in Division 2, 1 in Division 3, and 4 guys in Division 1. So we took 6 and followed them and posted their stats. Very tough to do when you get to that level.
Lots of flipping on the TV back and forth. But yeah,
it was fun. I did like that. I did enjoy that. Very wild stuff. These guys are studs at this level. You get there at the Division 1 level, and they give the rankings out, the medals to the top 6. Top 6 are the All-American status. So if you finish in the top 6 and you're part of the podium, with all the people that go at each weight, only the top 6 go there, and you got to fight your way back.
The podium in college.
6. Okay. Well, wait, maybe it is 8.
It's
6.
8.
So the
we had 3 gophers out of 8. They showed the one guy standing in the 8th spot.
Okay, so they do have wrestle for 7th and 8th. So it's 8 on the podium. And just to wrestle, to go that far and to get against the talent you're going up against, these guys are premium athletes, well-conditioned cats, and it is unbelievable to watch the conditioning. And one post that I did read, at the college level, when you get to D1, you need the physical aspect, but it's the mental fatigue that wears these guys down. The mental. You go the 7-minute matches against these studs, and your head has to be right, and you can't get to be a mental midget. You have to be so focused at that level. And so the mental is such a big part of these guys. And even you saw the mental with the heavyweight. Gabe comes out there like an all-star wrestler with the lights showing and the sparklers going off. The dude in Oklahoma comes out with the American flag draped around his back.
Right.
Gabe stares at him. He doesn't give him the time of day. I don't know what they said when he walked by. But all these little cues of things going on to try to get in the other person's heads are all happening at the same time in front of 19,000 fans. It's unbelievable. So anyway, fun stuff. The last thing is Major League Baseball, the Twins and the Mets. So the Mets are going to trim down their roster, open like with everyone else here today or tomorrow or the next day. Their rosters will be announced. They'll break camp. And right away by Friday, the AAA teams have got to reduce their roster size and make their active roster, because AAA baseball begins this Friday. The Saints are at home, Andy. CHS Field this Friday. I don't even know what their roster looks like. So they're still making cuts at the major league level. So it's going to be a fun couple of days. Did you have one last thought?
I got one last thing. It was so many days ago, I didn't want to do anything special on it. George Foreman.
Yes.
Just the say what you will about selling out and this and that for commercialism or whatever. Well, make fun of him for all his boys being named George, whatever. As an athlete, he was up there with Frazier and Ali. The three of them, just kind of boxing was the sport of kings because of those three guys. Frazier, Ali, Foreman, those three, boom, 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 boom. I heard a quick story I'll share real quick. I heard of this on 93X this morning. Someone that had sent it in. George Foreman had the same agent as Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
For a while. Guy calls George, hey, I got 2 promo things for you to do. One's a health powder, shake powder thing. The other's this grill. George didn't want to do the grill. His wife used it. One of his wife at the time used it, said, no, you got to do the grill thing. It's really good. He was at one point making $5 million a day off that grill.
He was.
Now, he has many ex-wives, so I'm sure that's one of the ex-wives, or maybe that was the last wife. I don't know. But, and did you ever hear of the Hulk Hogan health shake powder thing at all?
Nope.
I guess Hogan did have a pizza place or a pasta place at the Mall of America for a little bit, but
yeah, the things that they get offered to do, you see them on the TV pitching something, whatever it is, and you know that they got pitched, 5 or 6 other things and they turned down. God only knows what would have worked, what wouldn't have. But the George Foreman grill, everyone knows and everyone's heard of it, whether you like it or not.
Still have ours.
Buy it. You've heard of it. You have yours. It's the name, and it worked. And he did not want to do that. Yeah. If you don't know for George Foreman, look up his stats when you get time on Wikipedia page or whatever to see what he's all done athletically over the years, way back.
Look in the 80s when he was in his 40s, he had a comeback and won the title.
Look at amazing the
hands on that guy, the fists on him. They showed it. You see these things like when you go somewhere like, oh, here's Shaquille O'Neal's shoes. You get step into his shoes or whatever. But there, this guy had paws on him that you wouldn't believe.
Big meaty paws.
He demand, but George.
So that was good. The only other thing in NCAA basketball, we haven't touched much on the men's, but I did see that one game with the upset, the buzzer beater with a guy where he walked the travel. And so that was, you watch I think you and I, Andy, both agree on it's tough to watch NBA because of the walking, the 4 or 5, 6 steps, and nothing gets called. The walks, the travels, they just don't.
LeBron.
It's nice watching college because you don't see that. Well, here we go. A team down by 1 gets the ball, a magnificent shot. I have to give it. It's a great shot. Yes, It was a buzzer beater. It was great. I'm not dissing the shot. But as the time expires, they count it good. The game's over. Everyone strums the court. It's done. There was no call ever for a replay, no call to review it, no call to – I saw it watching live. I'm like, well, how many steps did he take? And they looked, and it's been blowing up on social media, on X and Facebook. And he clearly – it was not a legit shot. So they should have lost. The other team should have won.
We cannot play the coaches.
You can't come back and redo it. You can't come back and replay it. It's a mistake. And so I thought it was going to be one of your soapboxes today.
I saw the coach's comments as he left the court because pastors watching, we can't replay him here.
Okay.
He was not happy. He disagreed with the officials. We'll just say it that way.
Yes.
Strongly disagree with the officials.
But you never heard on the recording or on the show, the live broadcast, that no one called it or argued it or said, hey, someone should take a look at that, or that should be reviewed. The end of the game went to the next game right away. And only on social media did the folks started unearthing this. Really blew it up to make it. He obviously did. Now, the shot.
They might have pushed them off the court, too, for the next game, so he didn't have time to go out there and make a statement.
There was no time to do anything. So it's one of those, I feel bad. It happened. It was blatant. It was obvious. But how do you rectify it? How do you fix it? How do you go back? And you don't. And that's it. Now,
does basketball go to a challenge flag situation like football? And if they do that, the last 3 minutes are going to take forever.
That's the thing I didn't like. Now, the shot that he took was great. It was a tremendous shot. High off the backboard, great touch. It was perfect. But you can't take 3 steps. Even our friend Town Ball Tuesday had a tweet about this, Andy.
Yeah.
Did not like it. Major League Baseball, we're going to talk about that a lot. So let's get back to the trivia answer, Andy.
Yes.
Here's the question. Randy Johnson on this day pitched a ball in a minor league game that blew up a bird on the way in that happened to be flying across the path of the ball. What year was it? How long ago was this, Andy? What do you think?
I have a feeling, man. I know I'm wrong. 35 years ago.
Okay. It was 24 years ago on this day. 24 years ago on this day, 2001, Randy Johnson, the big unit, became infamous for this. Nothing even he tried or even wanted to do. It just happened.
Yeah.
And it became a legend, blew up this bird.
In fact,
now he runs a photography business, right? Look at his logo to this day.
Yep.
Randy Johnson Photography. You might as well take advantage of something. They
Yep.
all know that you're the guy who did this. Can't blame him. It's not like he did it on purpose, but he's forever known as the guy who killed the bird. And I guess Dave Winfield to some extent, but Winfield tried it and did it and had intent.
Well,
but Andy,
that's another conspiracy theory there if he tried to.
Yes, but he did it. The Randy Johnson was just wild stuff. That's 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
Randy Johnson's been noted, and I don't know if this is a tongue-in-cheek thing or not, but he says, I don't keep a gun or anything next to my bed. I keep a bag of baseballs on it. Someone wants to break in, I'm going to throw baseballs at him.
I did see that. That's a very good quote from Randy Johnson. So good luck there in his photography business. He's been doing that. I do love the logo. It's an upside-down dead bird. I mean, it is what it is. What else can you do with it except exploit the fact that you did that? But that was 24 years ago on this date.
All right.
That's it. Have a good week, everybody. See ya.
See ya.